Living paycheck to paycheck. Sound familiar? It's a reality for so many. That constant feeling of just barely scraping by. The worry that one unexpected expense could send everything crashing down. It's stressful, it's exhausting, and frankly, it's no way to live. But here's the thing, even on a tight budget, there's a way out. It's not about magically making more money appear, though wouldn't that be nice? It's about changing your mindset and your habits. I decided I was done letting money control my life. I was ready to take charge and rewrite my own financial story, even if it was one penny at a time. My journey started with a simple, almost cliché piece of advice my grandmother gave me. A penny saved is a penny earned. It wasn't about the amount, it was about the act of saving itself. So I started small, really small. I began by putting any spare change I found around the house into a jar. Then, I challenged myself to pack my lunch for work instead of eating out. Slowly, but surely, I started to see a difference. It wasn't just about the money either. It was about the feeling of control it gave me. Those small victories, those few extra dollars in my savings jar, they were proof that I could do this. Remember those instant ramen noodle commercials? The ones where college kids are living off them, acting like it's a fun, quirky phase? Yeah, that was my life. Except it wasn't a phase. It was my reality. And let me tell you, it gets old fast. But it was cheap. And when you're living paycheck to paycheck, cheap is the name of the game. My budget looked something like this: rent, utilities, student loan payments, and whatever was left went towards groceries. Forget about going out with friends, buying new clothes, or even considering a vacation. I was constantly stressed about money, constantly worried about the what-ifs. I knew I couldn't keep living like this, but I was stuck in a vicious cycle of denial. I'd tell myself it was just temporary, that things would get better once I got a raise or paid off my student loans. But the truth was, I was scared to face my financial reality. So I did what many people do in this situation. I buried my head in the sand and ignored the problem. The world of personal finance felt overwhelming and intimidating. Then came the wake-up call. It wasn't a dramatic, life-altering event, but it was enough to shake me out of my complacency. I realized that prices weren't going to magically go down, that my financial situation wasn't going to magically fix itself. If I wanted things to change, I had to be the one to change them. I remember walking out of that grocery store with a newfound determination. It wasn't about drastically changing my life overnight. It was about taking small, manageable steps. My grandmother's words echoed in my mind. A penny saved is a penny earned. So, I started with the pennies, literally. I dug through my purse, my car, the bottom of my laundry basket, and collected every single coin I could find. That initial success, however small, fueled my desire to do more. Seeing those savings accumulate, even if it was just a few dollars at a time, was incredibly motivating. As I delved deeper into the world of personal finance, I stumbled upon a concept that would change my perspective forever: the latte factor. It's the idea that small, seemingly insignificant expenses, like that daily latte, can add up to a significant amount of money over time. I started paying closer attention to my spending habits, and I was shocked by how much money I was mindlessly wasting on things I didn't even really need or enjoy. So, I made a conscious effort to cut back on those small expenses. It wasn't about depriving myself. It was about being more intentional with my money. And the more I saved, the more empowered I felt. One of the most valuable lessons I learned on my journey to financial freedom was the power of saying no. No to social events I couldn't afford, no to impulse purchases that would derail my budget, and no to the pressure to keep up with the Joneses. It wasn't always easy, especially in a society that often equates spending with happiness. But here's the thing. The more I said no to things that didn't align with my values or my financial goals, the more empowered I felt. I was no longer letting my finances dictate my life. I was the one in control. Remember that feeling of control I mentioned? It went into overdrive when I discovered the cash envelope system. Imagine this, physically dividing your cash into different categories: groceries, entertainment, gas, and putting each stack into a labeled envelope. No more wondering where your money went at the end of the month. With cash envelopes, you see exactly how much you have left for each category. I remember the first time I used the cash envelope system for a grocery shopping trip. I had a set amount of cash in my groceries envelope, and I was determined to stick to it. That feeling of accomplishment was incredible. Grocery shopping on a budget became a game, a challenge I was determined to win. I became a coupon queen, scouring newspapers and websites for the best deals. I discovered the magic of discounted produce, often finding perfectly good fruits and vegetables at a fraction of the price, simply because they were slightly bruised or nearing their expiration date. I learned to cook meals from scratch, realizing that homemade was not only healthier, but also significantly cheaper than takeout or prepackaged meals. One of my proudest moments was mastering the art of meal planning. Grocery shopping, once a chore I dreaded, became an adventure. Remember that wardrobe I mentioned? The one stuck on repeat? Well, it got a much-needed upgrade, thanks to the wonderful world of thrifting. I discovered a treasure trove of unique, stylish clothes at a fraction of the cost of buying new. From vintage finds to designer pieces on a budget, thrift stores became my go-to for fashion that didn't break the bank. It wasn't just clothes either. I furnished my entire apartment with secondhand finds. Embracing a secondhand lifestyle went beyond just saving money. Thrifting became more than just a shopping habit. It was a way of life. Remember those small victories I mentioned? The ones that fueled my desire to keep going? Well, they got a whole lot bigger when I discovered the power of the side hustle. I realized that my 9-to-5 job wasn't the only way to earn money. There were countless opportunities to leverage my skills and interests to generate extra income. I started small, taking on freelance writing gigs in my spare time. The beauty of the side hustle is that it allowed me to be creative, to explore different interests, and to be my own boss. Every extra dollar I earned from my side hustles went straight into my savings account, bringing me one step closer to my financial goals. Life has a funny way of testing you, especially when you're just starting to find your footing. I was feeling pretty good about my financial progress. My savings account was growing steadily. I had a handle on my spending, and I was even starting to feel a glimmer of hope for the future. Then, the unexpected happened. I came home to find a bright orange envelope taped to my door. My heart sank as I recognized the logo. It was a parking ticket. But this wasn't just any parking ticket, it was a doozy. I had parked in a street cleaning zone 3 times in the same month. The total amount due? Over $200. It felt like a punch to the gut. All those small victories suddenly felt insignificant in the face of this unexpected expense. I was devastated, frustrated, and frankly, a little bit panicked. My carefully crafted budget was thrown completely off track. I had 2 options: dip into my emergency fund, or find a way to scrape together the money from my already tight budget. The weight of my financial progress felt heavier than ever. That night, I found myself staring at the familiar orange glow of the sodium-laden broth. a wave of defeat washing over me. Ramen noodles, once a symbol of my financial struggles, were back on the menu. As I ate, I couldn't help but feel a sense of failure. But amidst the disappointment, a glimmer of determination began to flicker. This setback wasn't going to derail my progress. I pulled out my budget notebook, filled with scribbled goals and tracked expenses. It was time to get creative, to absorb this unexpected expense. I knew I couldn't let this setback define me. I chose to use it as motivation to strengthen my financial resilience. Saving money on a tight budget wasn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It was about reclaiming my peace of mind. Remember that constant knot of anxiety I used to carry in my stomach? The one that tightened every time an unexpected bill arrived. It started to loosen its grip. As my savings account grew, so did my sense of security. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I could finally breathe a little easier knowing that I had a safety net, a financial cushion to absorb life's inevitable curveballs. The fear of living paycheck to paycheck, of being one emergency away from disaster, began to fade. But it wasn't just about the money. The real transformation happened on a deeper level. Learning to manage my finances, to make conscious choices about my spending, had a profound impact on my overall well-being. I felt more empowered, more in control of my own destiny. The confidence I gained from managing my finances spilled over into other areas of my life. I was no longer just surviving, I was thriving. And that, my friends, is a feeling that no amount of money can buy. Looking back, my journey to financial freedom wasn't just about learning to pinch pennies or snag a good deal. It was about uncovering a deeper strength within myself. It was about realizing that true wealth isn't measured by the size of your bank account, but by the peace of mind you carry with you. It's about knowing that you have the power to shape your own financial future, no matter how much you earn. It's about the freedom to pursue your passions, to weather life's storms without financial ruin hanging over your head. So, if you're reading this, feeling trapped in the cycle of paycheck to paycheck living, know this: there's hope. You are capable of so much more than you think. Start small, celebrate every victory, and never underestimate the power of a penny saved. Because the journey to financial freedom isn't about deprivation, it's about empowerment. It's about taking control of your finances so you can live a life you love, a life filled with purpose, passion, and true wealth.